What's going on YouTube? So for the longest time, truck manufacturers believed that Americans would only buy full-size trucks. But Ford has proven them wrong with this Maverick. This small, affordable truck starts at only $26,295 and is heavily updated for 2025. And it still is offering surprising capability and efficiency. So is this the truck for you? Let's go ahead and take a first look to find out. Alright, so of course the first place we want to start off with is the exterior. Taking a first look at this, you'll definitely be able to tell that things are going to be different for 2025. So this model I'm standing next to right now is the Lariat trim level. This is the highest option in the traditional lineup. And as you can see, we've got a new grille up here in the front. Each of the trim levels is going to kind of have its own spin on this grille, but Ford did point out that they're all going to be black as a foundation and have a lot less chrome than what you had previously. Those are the other trims over there, so you can see the Tremor, the XLT, just kind of on display next to me right here. And you can also see how this has the elevated appearance of more luxury, including having the silver accents down here on our lower fascia. Now in terms of our lighting, that's also going to be elevated here with the Lariat trim. We have a new LED headlight unit. All of the Mavericks are going to have LEDs, but this has the projector LEDs and also has the distinct LED daytime running light right through there. Now, just like with the front, the wheels, you also have a lot of different choices depending on which trim level you get. What we have right here is a 19-inch alloy wheel. This is the largest that the Maverick is going to be offering in the lineup. And one thing I do want to point out is that Ford also has a black package, so you can black out the wheels, black out the few little silver elements you have on this model, if that's what you like. As we come up here to the mirrors, you can see that these are already blacked out, and we do have blind spot monitoring and heating built in.
Now at the side, you of course can see that this Maverick is a nice boxy truck shape, and I think that's one of the reasons why so many buyers love this design. As far as the overall length, it's 199.7 inches, and as you can see, it is a unibody truck. It actually shares a foundation with stuff like the Ford Escape. But let's go ahead and head around to the rear and check out the updates that Ford has done back here. Well, when it comes to those updates, you will notice that they haven't done quite as much as they did in the front. So we still do have that traditional Maverick shape, which I honestly think looks quite nice and shares a lot of resemblance to bigger trucks such as the Ranger and F-150. One of those elements is the Maverick spelled out across the back. You also have a prominent Ford badge. As far as your taillights are concerned, they will remain a halogen setup incandescent setup, for 2025. So you have an incandescent brake light, reverse light, and turn signal indicator. Now, as we head down to this lower area, there is some stuff to talk about here. You're not going to see any exposed exhaust outlets, but you will continue to have a towing package offered, and that increases your standard tow capacity from 2,000 pounds up to 4,000 pounds. And new for 2025, that tow package is available on the hybrid model based on popular demand. But it's a truck after all, so let's go ahead and dive into the bed and see what you're going to get back here. As you can see, when I open up the tailgate, do keep in mind it is not a dampened tailgate, but as far as the bed itself is concerned, you are going to have a 4.5-foot bed. I also do want to point out that the Maverick is going to be a crew cab only. I did fail to mention that earlier. You can't get like a traditional single door setup. It's going to be a crew cab with this 4.5-foot bed across all versions of this vehicle. Now, 4.5 foot is not as big as a full-size truck. However, I do want to point out a few cool features that Ford is including to make sure you have the most usability out of your Maverick. For instance, you see this right here. This is actually a Ford accessory. It's called the bed extender. And not only does it allow you to kind of store specific items and keep them from rolling around in the bed when the tailgate is up, you can actually flip it completely over, and that's also going to allow you to kind of extend your bed out basically another foot and a half for those longer objects that you may need. Now, in addition to that, as far as features are concerned, you will find a bed liner on this model, and we also have a 110 volt household style outlet, which is good for keeping things charged up, using tools, those types of things, and you also have rails on the side. So overall, this is a quite usable truck bed, even despite this being the most affordable truck you can buy in the Ford lineup. For 2025, you will continue to have some good safety features that will include forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection and auto high beam headlights, regardless of what trim level you choose. Additionally, as you go up the trim levels, you can even get things like lane centering as well as adaptive cruise control. But guys, that's going to wrap up the exterior changes for this 25 Maverick. There are some really big updates inside the cabin, so let's dive into that. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's go ahead and check out the interior. Before we get inside, though, I do want to mention that you've, of course, got new color choices for 2025. This green is a new option that I particularly really like here on this Lariat trim. Now, we have smart entry on the door for this model, and taking a look inside, you're going to notice some pretty significant changes. Before we get into each individual change, I do want to go ahead and talk about our seats. This in itself is a change for 2025 because here in the Lariat, of course, we still got the power seats with lumbar support. We also still have the ActiveX leatherette, but what's different is we have a new color. This is called Smoked Truffle, and as you can see, this is a two-tone finish, so you've got that kind of color right through the center that looks very similar to the F-150 Platinum that we tested out recently, and then you've got the color contrast accent down the side. I really like the way this looks. It's a very elevated seat design, and it feels good to the touch as well. But let's go ahead and climb fully inside. Now reach over here and close up the door. And as I do that, let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the cabin materials. So, of course, Ford has also shifted around a little bit of the material choices. The accents are going to be a little bit different colors for 2025, again, depending on the trim. We have a hard plastic along the top of these upper surfaces where you rarely touch. That's what we expect for this price point. As you can see, this center section has kind of almost a sandstone kind of appearance that is also over there in the door trim as well. And then our console is nice and low to give you a good wide overall feel. It also is solidly put together. Now we're in a studio setting right now, so we're not going to be able to fire up the engine in here, but I'll see if I can press the push button start located right here and get the electronics fired up. And now that everything booted up, let's get into some of these specific details, because right off the start with this gauge cluster, we have a 2025 change. That's the fact we now have a new 8-inch multi-function display on board. As you can see, that kind of just a large display that's going to replace the previous arrangements that you had. Fully customizable, of course, in typical Ford fashion. As far as the steering wheel, typical Ford design on board, manual, tilt, and telescoping. Let's take a look at interior storage, though, because this is a compact pickup truck, so we want to still see if we have plenty of storage. As you can see, this console quite deep, quite wide as well. By the way, here's your key fob, typical Ford stuff right here. You also have a lot of versatility with this area. So you've got a storage cubby here, 2 big cup holders, 2-part storage cubby right there, and finally even a wireless phone charging pad here on the left-hand side. The shifter is going to be a small and compact rotary style shifter that we've seen on many Ford products. Just twist over to D for drive, and then R is for reverse. Now this is a new thing that I really want to talk about for 2025, and that's the fact that we now have this brand new 360-degree camera system that's never been offered on the Maverick before, and as you can see, you've got those cool overhead views. You can also go over here and select from a wide variety of other views depending on what you're trying to do, such as line up a trailer. Of course, you also have an electronic parking brake located right down there below. And I also want to talk about this right here. This is the Pro Trailer Backup Assist Now available for the first time on the Maverick model. Ford actually says that 50% of Maverick owners do tow with their Maverick. And of course, since that's not probably an everyday occurrence for a Maverick owner, this is particularly going to be useful in those backing situations with a trailer. Now off to the side of that, we have another knob. This is our volume knob for a Bang & Olufsen sound system, available here on the top Lariat trim level. And by the way, while we're looking over there, you can just observe how much storage you get with the door trims. It's very, very impressive. Also impressive is going to be our infotainment system. So let me just kind of go back to the main screen. Yeah, so this is now a 13.2-inch display. That is a big jump over the previous display of 8 inches, and this, guys, is standard on all trim levels. That's right, even the base trim levels. That's very, very impressive. This is running also the new Sync 4 system. So that is going to give you, versus the 2024 model, wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, as well as kind of a freshened software experience. The climate controls are located in the lower part of the display. This Lariat has a dual zone automatic setup. We also have heated seats on board that you can adjust right there, and you have an automatic function for those, and we have a heated steering wheel as well. Built-in navigation right there. Of course, you got some storage up on the very top, manual dimming mirror. And then finally, up on the roof, we have a standard size sunroof.
Now, like I said, at the side of the vehicle, this is crew cab only. So let's go ahead and check out the rear seat area of this Maverick. Now, you're going to find a pretty impressive amount of space. That's not going to change for 2025. About 36 inches of legroom, about 40 inches of headroom. So really good legroom and headroom figures. I'm 5'9" for reference. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". Of course, this is a Car Confections review, so we're going to get our knee measure. We're sitting at about 5 inches of additional knee room with the seat adjusted to Drew, and my feet can slide up underneath of the seat. And I will just point out these seats do feel pretty comfortable as well. As far as features are concerned, I'll have Drew come back in because there are actually quite a few features in this fully loaded model. We have 2 USB-C ports, and we also have a household-style outlet. I'm really not sure what this little slot is for. Maybe some coins or something can fit in there. And then if we fold down the center armrest, we have 2 cup holders inside. Once again, you are going to have a really large storage area for your door trim. Basically, the whole thing is hollowed out for storage, which is very nice, especially for truck buyers. If that's not enough storage for you as well, you can lift these seats up. I can't lift them up because I'm sitting right now in the vehicle. I guess I can hop out and show you what that's going to look like. But if you just lift up the seat bottoms by pulling the strap, there's quite a bit of underfloor storage underneath. Do be aware, though, it's connected into one piece. Also, I want to point out for the Lariat trim level, you're going to get the power sliding rear glass.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what you're going to find under the hood for the 2025 Maverick. You're going to find the same 2 powertrains as last year, but that's not to say that there aren't any changes, because there are some significant changes. So first of all, the 2.5-liter hybrid system with 191 horsepower is back to being standard equipment on the Maverick again. I know for a little bit it switched to the 2-liter engine, and now it's back to being a standard hybrid model. The other thing that's important to note about this is that for the very first time, you can now add all-wheel drive to the hybrid model. So you no longer have to go to the EcoBoost engine to get all-wheel drive. Now, speaking of that, you also still continue to have the availability of a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, and that's now making 238 horsepower. As far as your transmissions, the hybrid will come with an eCVT. The 2-liter is going to come with an 8-speed automatic transmission. And then we expect fuel economy to remain pretty much the same for 2025. Ford is saying that you should expect to see the hybrid all-wheel drive, though, the new model, still give 40 miles per gallon in the city. Currently, the combined rating for the hybrid is 37 miles per gallon, and then your 2-liter engine is setting at 26 miles per gallon combined.
Lastly, let's talk about pricing for this new Maverick. Now, we don't have official full line pricing. However, we do have a starting price for 2025. It's going to be $26,295 plus $1,595 destination charges, your base model XL. So that does represent around a $2,500 price premium over the 2024 version of the Maverick. So if we apply that to some of the other trim levels, I'd expect a Lariat to start around $35,000, $36,000. Now, of course, stay tuned for official pricing, but do also keep in mind that you can get that available all-wheel drive system. And if you're looking to buy a Ford Maverick or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's going to be where we leave off on this first look review of the refreshed 2025 Ford Maverick. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to be a part of our automotive family and get the latest car content, you really help us to get more opportunities like this where we can come up to Detroit and sample out the latest products that haven't even gone on sale yet. So please go ahead and do that if you haven't already. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.